I'm Margaret in Windsor, and I want to give you a brief description of why I'm putting this up and things have happened to me. First of all, I want to mention this, that I haven't dealt on that much before out of fear, because like Anastasia was killed in Blue Ridge Mental Health in Charlottesville, Virginia, and that's for sure. I tried to put some of it up there about meeting. Well, I knew because I went through driving a Larry Flint car he had furnished for me during a campaign. He was shot. I was trying to write about mind control programming, and he was actually shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia. I was living in Marietta at Moonraker. He flew me out there in a campaign. And he actually says in this endorsement that I know who's responsible for his shooting. He mentions Larry McDonald, the one that went down the airplane and was U.S. Congressman. Wrote a book about mind control, MD, A License to Kill. It was unpublished, and I want to show this. I didn't find out until after I was out at Mr. Flint's, who indicated when I first met him, I knew about his shooting there being done in patterns, and I had never met him. I didn't need to know. So when I was introduced to him, when I was brought from the airport, he said to me, "You don't have to say anything to me. I know everything there is to know about you." He says, "I know they were going to send you back a vegetable." Well, I didn't know at that moment what he meant by back, but he meant back to England. Right after then, I began finding out about my kidnapping, and it all made sense because the Brits and Germans were the ones that saved me, and some Americans, but very few. So I was writing about later these happened. This is the Grand Theater with James Holmes. Mental health has got him or did have him, and they're saying he's mentally ill. There's no way. This is a mind control murder done in patterns, and if you ever heard it, you know it's probably how they brought certain people together, names and everything, is beyond fixing. I have to say you could have helped me. You didn't have to treat me the inhumane way I've been treated from the day you kidnapped me, America, and some of my people, Winston Churchill, my own Uncle George VI, the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Bilderbergers. Joe Kennedy was appointed ambassador by Roosevelt. 36, they kicked him out in 46. JFK and his older brother, Joe, were in the army. Well, they just took over England, UK, and the British. They ended up with everything British, even the monarch. So the Kennedys helped in my kidnapping. I'm assuming they flew me to Cortland Air Base near Moulton. It was a pigsty. The woman killed her twins, and I'm going to show this. This is the birth name they gave me. I'm just showing Carl's. But this is what the state of Alabama did. I think probably, well, anyway, they just marked through the date of birth, and they had a time with the birth certificate, too. They still had the 8 on it. They were actually born a year more earlier than me, and she had killed them. They inserted the date of birth they gave me because it didn't jive with the one on their birth certificate, and you can't mark through it. It's illegal. Even that the state seal on it says you can't. Okay, I'm just going to show this because I'm going to take this off. I'm going to show this because this is my Uncle George with the Roosevelts in 39 planning my kidnapping. Now, since I have come in contact with videos or pieces in the paper, pictures, video, they call it the Hot Dog Festival. That's when this was made in Hyde Park. I didn't connect that or know about it until I got that sent to me, and I put it on Facebook, etc. So it tells about the Roosevelts, and it's horrifying to know exactly How many, and I'm sure I don't know yet, got in on taking down my father, Edward the Eighth, with lies? They were celebrating it and planning my kidnapping. They kidnapped me in 41. So I don't take all this up. This is Wallace Simpson, a double married Wallace, imposter. She was an American spy, and here she is shaking hands with Eleanor. You got it? Eleanor and George right side by side with Roosevelt's mom and Elizabeth's mother, George the illegal sixth, who helped kidnap me, mother. So they were having a hot dog festival. You can Google it, I'm sure. Now, this is where my father abdicated in 36. This is my father. He was married to my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, in 36, in December when he abdicated. So then my father was supposed to have abdicated to marry this woman. She married a double. It is horrifying to look back at some things that I know that have been changed on Google. And you really can't trust it. I Googled some stuff about 4 years ago when I first got this to upload videos and Facebook, and these things were there in dates, and now they've disappeared. This is in 1943, me with that family, and that's Lina, the psychopath that killed her twins, Peggy and Carl. And that's the name I have to use, Peggy Ann Dempsey. I married Childers. Now, my dad's Edward the Eighth, married my mom, sister to artist Georgia O'Keeffe. This is Elizabeth, illegal monarch, and that's all I have to say about her. She's a traitor and should face war crime tribunal, except it's controlled by the very people, the Illuminati, Freemasons, Rockefellers that control your news medias and kidnap me. Now, I wanted to get into this because the other day, I haven't said much about what happened to me using the mental health system here. Until I saw this article, I knew that Anastasia had things done to her in the mental health system, and an attorney, they got an attorney which was illegal to bypass. I don't know, this may not work since I turned around, I don't know. To bypass, her husband was a professor. He even drove into the fence at Blue Ridge Mental Health trying to get Anastasia released. They killed her. Halidol will sure do it, especially if it's a non-existent illness and it's being the mental health system and the psychotic drugs are used on you. How would you like to be a cancer victim and have some other hideous, they misdiagnose you deliberately so they can torture you, and you're stuck with it? Because that's what happened. The mental health system has been so abused, and once a doctor diagnoses you, it's hard to undo. So I'm going to show this, and I'm going to do it this way. This is Timothy McVeigh, and of course, William. They're saying that they put a chip in him because they were afraid he might be kidnapped. I think that's kind of a thing pointing at I was kidnapped. But anyway, Timothy McVeigh says there he had a chip put up his buttocks by the U.S. Army, and he blew up well, he didn't. The people that gave him orders did. The Oklahoma City, the federal building, etc. And he was put to death. So now I want to jump to, I suppose, telling you about what I was going to a little more. When I saw that, it was printed. This was a video and a write-up in I don't know if it was The Guardian. It was a British newspaper from London. And it was stating about, in 1941, I believe they said 3 cousins, I'm not sure, of Elizabeth, the illegal monarch, the second. Her dad's illegal, helped kidnap me. Can you believe it? I got rags when I'm lucky enough to have them. I can hardly stay in. I've been beaten. So anyway, before I get off. I saw that and I read it, and then further down, I did upload this to Facebook. Further down in that very article, it told about later other members of the family, royal family, were incarcerated, and I'm not doing myself any good here. I'm not getting it, am I? So I might as well turn it back around. Let me see. No. Someone told me my videos looked hideous, and they do. But then you have to know how I'm living. There I go. I'm not going to do it again. I don't have a studio. I'm living in poverty and hell. And now I want to go on to this. I wrote the book. Now I'm just taking out this segment, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you the doctors involved in this. I Googled them a couple of years ago. They were there. Dr. Chelton, and I know that the spelling was Chelton, not Chilton. He was a psychiatrist. He was over Parkwood. It's a mental facility, privately owned. And it was on Cliff Valley Way in Atlanta. Okay, this Dr. Gonzalez that becomes such a part of this, he was at Parkland in Dallas. That's a group, Parkland, Parkwood, and you should see how it's grown in all these years, what it's become. Nobody's paid for the crimes. But anyway, his name is Dr. Victor Rodolfo Gonzalez, and I believe he's still in practice in Marietta, Georgia, at his age. He's a part of this. It's so sick. He was there, though, at Parkland when John Kennedy was brought there when he was shot. He was an intern. Now he ends up in Huntsville, Alabama, where I was. In 1961 till I left, my husband and I and children went to Atlanta. Well, he had been in the Army base there, and he had written a little book that he published himself called Army Brat. He was in the Army out at Redstone Arsenal Command Center, and he was a child psychiatrist, but he treated grown-ups too. Now then, he's there. I met him once when he brought his wife to the health spa. Now you get into clues like weight is a British pound, okay? But anyway, it opened there. It was a big one, and I became manager later on. And with me, you get into twins are involved in all this. Doris Daniels' husband worked about 3 down from Von Braun. So I can't get into all that. Anyway, she had a twin. Now, she ended up getting my job there. She ran me off, is really what happened. She ended up with my job and on TV. But the point being, I kind of liked her. Didn't like that. But Victoria was the first instructor, and then I became the instructor after her. And then Doris was part-time and supposed to help me, except she ended up with my job. Okay, she ran me off. They didn't fire me or anything. She just made it so bad, and it wasn't worth it at the time to stay. Anyway, you get into clues and etc. So Victoria was the instructor, and then they hired me to replace her. But you get into a name game, like I worked for Fred Simpson, the district attorney in 1980, as in Wallace Warfield Simpson was supposed to marry my father, Edward VIII, and she married a double. So I'm going to leave that and go on to this. When I was doing the book and Larry Flynt was shot and all this happened, living at Moonraker in Marietta, I had antifreeze put in me. And if anybody ever thinks there's a living hell, if you live, that's it. I knew that Lois Pearson, this is on April Fool Day of 80, I went to her house as an attempt, so much was happening, to get away for a night or two, and I ended up getting antifreeze. Her sister worked for the Phillips, who become a part of this, Phillips and Grossman. They're in Atlanta and Marietta, and actually, they fed me made me have antifreeze in me, put antifreeze in me. And next morning I knew something was wrong, bad wrong. I had a real red spot at the nape of my neck, and I thought that at that time I thought she had ingested me by using the needle. I didn't know what it was. So here I go to Fifth, okay, wait a minute. Don't let me forget it. It's Hospital Corporation, or it was then, emergency room, regular hospital, Fifth, what was it? Oh, gosh. At the end of Far Road in, I've forgotten the name of it. Anyway, I went there in emergency room, going to get a tox screen to see what had been put in me and if it could be neutralized, because I was in hell and I knew. Guess who shows up about that time from Huntsville, Alabama? Wonder where she spent the night before and why I didn't know it. Lina Dempsey, the mother of the twins. That family made a promise to their mom that they would keep quiet about my kidnapping and who I am. And, of course, Lina, the mother that killed them, would have faced the gas chamber in Alabama. So I want to get back to this. When I went to the emergency room at the hospital, Dr. Chilton was there. No tox was done. I was immediately locked up and taken away. You're not supposed to be locked up. It's a regular hospital. You're supposed to have certain physicals, etc. done. They did none of them. I was put, and here's how they did it. They said the condition I was in, I was so sick and horrified, I thought I was dying. I should not have lived according to medical technology. So they told me if I tried to leave, that they would have an intern, male intern, hold me down and feed me Halidol. Well, upon them putting me in there, when I come for a tox screen, told them I'd done a book. God, I didn't know this man was head of psychiatry at Parkwood, friends of Gonzalez and the buddy system, the doctors. Larry McDonald, you get into the whole bunch of them. Okay, so they gave me Halidol. I'm already in hell. And they burned my brain is what they did. And a British lady saved my life. She was a nurse, no other word for it. Okay, I'm lying there. I can't get in touch with my ex-husband. He's out of town. I have no money on me, not even for the phone. So they did do a urine analysis, and when they did, it came back. They said it came back that it had been contaminated. They left it sitting out so long, so they were going to do a clean catch. Well, I've been in this a long time. I knew what they were doing, so I deliberately put my toothbrush, toothpaste, and I forgot this. The night before, they actually. Someone came in. She was a black, younger woman. I think they were dressed in white. They came at 3 o'clock in the morning, I believe. There was a woman in there with me, patient, and she told me. And then she disappeared. And a black man. I've been a white woman. I can't, now it's so long. Two, they were about the same age. It was white woman, black man. I was so sick, I tied myself with sheets to keep from screaming because I